Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. A little Sunday morning at home. Hope you guys enjoyed the extra hour of sleep. I did not get it. Olivia woke up early. But we're still going to break down some trade rumors that have come about earlier this morning for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll keep you guys covered as the NFL trade deadline rapidly approaches. That is on Tuesday. We will have live coverage for you following Monday Night Football's live stream as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Want to get into what the three notable NFL insiders have said so far this morning. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit more. I know Jay Glazer will probably have something Cowboys related. Maybe. We'll see. During his hit for Fox before the games began. Dianna Russini, Ian Rapoport, and Adam Schefter. Let's begin with Russini, who doesn't have that much really in terms of the Cowboys. Couple elements I want to note here. Jermaine Johnson's trade value, and we've mentioned this before, does appear to be a second-round pick, or at least that's what the Jets are asking for. Johnson is under contract next year, so they don't have to trade him if they do not want to. The Eagles are among the teams that have made calls on Jermaine Johnson. I do think Philly also a team to watch for all those Dolphins players. Eagles, Niners, Patriots, according to Russini, have called on Jaelan Phillips. That one certainly is worth monitoring there. Dolphins want a third, at least, for Phillips, which, again, I think makes sense given he's going to be a free agent, should get a decent contract, could fetch a third-round pick in return. Russini also says they're getting calls on Bradley Chubb and Matthew Judon. I don't think they're getting calls on Matthew Judon. He's got 0 sacks this year and 7 tackles. I think that is he gets mentioned because teams call about Chubb and Phillips, and the Dolphins' response is, hey, do you want Matthew Judon? Because why would they want the old guy that isn't going to be with them next year? So I wouldn't be surprised if, and I fully expect Miami to make at least one trade. We'll see if it's for an edge or not. We'll come back to Logan Wilson, TRey Hendrickson later. Russini, and this is kind of the common theme, says that opposing teams don't think the Bengals are going to move a player of Hendrickson's caliber, but we shall see. So first question of the day. Will the Cowboys make a trade? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Let's go to Ian Rapoport. A lot going on here. He actually had some notable insight for the Cowboys. Doesn't expect maybe the blockbuster trade. Does say, quote, they are in the market for a pass rusher, which isn't a huge surprise. I think the Cowboys have the self-awareness to go, yeah, we're not good enough up front. And I do think Trench in general is a focal point there. Now, Rapoport mentioned several names, 4 in particular, although the way it was actually written, I think he meant these are names in general that could be available. Therefore, given the Cowboys' need at edge, they could be fits. I don't think he meant it specifically as the Cowboys have called and are trying to trade for any of these 4 players. We will break them all down. Arden Key, both Jaelan Phillips and Bradley Chubb of the Dolphins, and the Raiders Malcolm Koonce, who we'll come back to here in a little bit more in depth. He also had a Mazi Smith update, but I want to focus in here on the edges. Arden Key, I think, is better than some of what the Cowboys have in terms of their pass rush. I don't know if adding a player of Key's caliber is really the route I want to go down there. He's capped off as a 6.5 sack guy. He's got 1.5 sacks this year for the Tennessee Titans. I think all he would cost is a day 3 pick, and that's fine. I'm not going to be mad if they give up a day 3 pick, but I also question if trading for a guy that's going to get you a couple of sacks over the course of the season at the day 3 pick capital when he's going to be a free agent after this year is actually the best path. I don't know if this team should be in the day 3 rental category for edge. I would almost rather, given just how bad this defense is, if you're just going to add 1 or 2 pieces, I would almost rather go for a bigger fish. That certainly fits the Jaelan Phillips and Bradley Chubb mold. I'll get to the guys here, but first I do want to mention Malcolm Koonce. That is a promising player who hasn't quite been able to put up the production we were hoping. 8 sacks in 2023, looked like the breakout year was going to happen. Missed all of 2024, had a sack in the season opener against the Patriots, hasn't had a sack since. Has had some tackles, but he's young-ish. He's only 27 years old. The issue here you run into with Koonce, even though I do think that as a pass rush player, like impact guy, he's got the ability to be good there. Rep by David Mulgeta, also is going to be a free agent after this season. And the prorated figure of the $5 million, so 2.5 we'll call it. I do think the 2 Dolphins players are a little bit more viable in terms of potential targets for the Cowboys. We'll come back to them here, but today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing. It is chilly these days, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. You pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. Get those picks right, you could cash in. It's the only app that offers stacks, so if you want to pick the same play up to 3 times in the same lineup, you can. Maybe you want to go more than Josh Allen or Mahomes passing rush yards and touchdowns for the Chiefs-Bills game. Maybe, I would have said Kyler, but maybe just go Brissett more than passing yards and passing TDs on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or someone whose picks you just like, do it all on the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. The Dolphins' edges, Jaelan, Phillips, Bradley Chubb, both mentioned by Ian Rapoport as part of this article. Phillips is a rental. He's a little bit expensive too. You don't have the alleged third-round asking price for him. I think the Dolphins trade one of Jaelan Phillips or Bradley Chubb. And I think Phillips would be their first preference because he's going to be a free agent after this year. They have Chop Robinson, who they like as a young player. Bradley Chubb is under contract. Now, Chubb's contract is also, if he doesn't play well, could make him a cut candidate after the year ends. So, because it's expensive, it's around $20 million. I think the Dolphins and Jets, kind of sounds like Will McDonald's not available. I think those, if you're looking for an impact notable edge, who's going to be a bit expensive, those are, I think, the teams to monitor. Dolphins obviously lost on Thursday Night Football, fired their GM and Chris Greer. We'll see what the Jets do. But we'll see how things play out on that front for them. I think monitor the Dolphins and Jets going into this trade deadline. Also of note, Rap says that Dallas is open to trading first-rounder Mazi Smith, who has played in 5 games this year. They're going to get Perion Winfrey back in the not-too-distant future. I think Mazi's outplayed Jay Tolia. These two, he's just a guy right now. Like, he hasn't been anything more than an innings eater, 5th starter in the rotation who's going to allow 4.7 ERA. Like, that's fine. There's a role for that, but you don't want to spend a first-round pick on that guy. Like, if you can get something back, I think you do it. I don't know if you can, but it would allow you to free up snaps for Tolia and really for Winfrey as he gets healthier from his back issue. So who do you want the Cowboys to trade for? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Finally, Adam Schefter, I want to go into the Hendrickson stuff here. So this has been pretty consistently reported. The Bengals are telling teams they're not trading away TRey Hendrickson. And history tells us that is how the Bengals operate, that they will not trade Trey, and they'll keep him, and they'll keep their feeble hopes alive, even if they lose against the Bears. If the Bears beat the Bengals on Sunday, Chicago is favored, by the way. Schefter saying sources have wondered if that might be enough to change the Bengals' mind. And I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. I think that if the Bengals lose, that is going to be a storyline. Teams are going to call Cincinnati. And the question is, okay, what's the response? Hendrickson, as of filming this, I don't think he's going to be able to go. It was listed as doubtful with his hip injury. Would not be surprised if he's out, which also complicates the market. How healthy is he? What's the hip? you have to pass physical, actually. Like, that also would bring down the value. And if you're the Bengals, you might be able to talk yourself into, we'll keep him, we'll try to make this run, he'll get healthy down the course of the season, and he'll boost his value for the comp pick in free agency next year. Of note as well from Schefter, Logan Wilson. I think this one is more likely to potentially see a trade. Schefter mentioned 3 teams that have called about Logan Wilson. Some interest, he had said. Bills, Colts, of course, the Lou Anarumo connection, and the Dallas Cowboys. Wouldn't be shocked if it's just Indy ends up landing Logan Wilson to reunite him with his old defensive coordinator. This one is certainly one that has to be monitored. Wilson is also banged up with an alleged calf injury. In general, I tend to ignore that of like, okay, are you really banged up? Like, Jeffrey Simmons missed 2 games. Like, he's clearly hurt. Wilson, I do wonder if he's actually hurt or not. Given the trade request that he has issued. But that is one to monitor, under contract for the next couple of years. Not crazy expensive if he can look a little bit better than he did in Cincinnati. So we'll keep an eye on Wilson and, of course, all those defensive players for the Dallas Cowboys. Make sure you guys are subscribed.